Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. I'm Rick Kessler from RV Business. Also from RV Business is Sherman Goldenberg. And joining the two of us today are two very special guests. Let's start with Debbie Brunaforte. Debbie, of course, is a vice president with Campers Inn RV and the longtime dealer out in Phoenix, Arizona. Her dealership was Little Dealer, Little Prices. Debbie is also the chairwoman of the RVMH Hall of Fame Board of Directors. And Darryl Searer, Darryl, of course, for 12 and a half years now as the president of the RVMH Hall of Fame. Thank you both for joining us. And then I wanted to ask, Darryl, I think you had a message you wanted to start out with, or a couple of messages, actually.
Well, the main message is that we've kind of all mourned the passing of Pete Legal, who has been an icon in the industry for many years. He's also was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2009, so he's a fellow Hall of Famer as well. And I thought maybe if we just bowed our heads for just a couple seconds in recognizing his passing. And I'd further like to say that being a Hall of Famer, we'd like to extend whatever we can do to help the family in their time of grief here. And with that, Debbie, you have a few words?
Well, if we're talking about Pete, I know that the RVMH Hall of Fame, we will dedicate the staff and we will dedicate the family for anything that the family, Pete's family, might ask of us. We're happy to do that. So moving on, Darryl, you have an announcement you'd like to make?
I would. After 12 and a half years, I started out at 69 and the end of October, I turned 82. So I think it's probably time for me to step aside and maybe let a younger generation take over as president. Although I'm not, I'm resigning as the president or retiring as the president as of the end of December. But I've agreed to stay on in 2025 as the individual who will oversee the Supplier Show, which will be next September. And I might mention that 1/3 of the suppliers have already signed up for the show next year. So that's moving right along, and there'll still be a lot of work to do there. And then I'd also like to stay on the board, probably as a non-voting member. Actually, our bylaws say that if you're a past chairperson, you are on the board as long as you want to be on the board. You're just not a voting member. And we already have one. Barry Cole has been a chairman emeritus for some time. So I'll turn it back over to Rick.
Well, congratulations, Darryl. That's a heck of an accomplishment and very well deserved.
And go ahead.
Well, if I may, I just want to say in the past 13 years, Darryl has dedicated himself to be the president of the RVMH Hall of Fame. And Darryl brought us from the brink of financial instability to where we are now, debt-free and thriving. And under your leadership, Darryl, we're now a symbol of pride for the entire industry. And I would just like to say, on behalf of all of us, we want to say thank you to Darryl. We truly appreciate your tireless passion for the RVMH Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Agreed. Yes, totally. Go ahead. You're going to say something. Go ahead.
I just want to say it's been my pleasure, actually. I had my own business for many, many years before I volunteered here. And I can honestly say that it's been more fun in my life from age 69 to 82 to be involved with the Hall of Fame, the board, the staff, both industries, both the RV and the manufactured housing industry, and And it's been so rewarding to take something that was in financial trouble and turn it into something that is now going to be here forevermore for everybody to enjoy. And I can get into some more details as we go forward. But I've been in the RV industry all of my life, and I've been started out in a family business, and then I spent several years with Dometic on the West Coast, 7 years out there. We went from 18% market share to 92% in 7 years. Then I came back for another 9 years as VP of Sales and Marketing for the United States, and then decided to go into my own business. And that's been very successful. And fortunately, I've got a younger brother, 21 years younger than I am, that was able to run it. So I officially retired the first time when I was only 52 years old. And then I basically was an advisor, and then came out of retirement when a board member called me and said, this was in January of 2012, that it didn't look like the Hall of Fame was going to make it. And so I'll leave it at that for right now, but I'll answer any questions that you guys might have.
The company name that you last worked for?
I'm sorry, sure. Say again.
The company name that you last worked for?
That I last worked for?
Yeah.
It was actually, I started out with a family name, which was Elkhart Rivet and Register. I'll just go through because there are not very many of them. It was Elkhart Rivet and Register. And then I went to work from there for a company called Elkhart Hinge Company. And from there to Tuco. Tuco was ice boxes and refrigerators. I caught the eye of Dometic. So I was with Dometic for many, many years. And then the company was Ultrafab Products, and that's the company that my brother and I sold about 3.5 years ago.
Okay. I'd like to take a big picture look at the Hall of Fame and where you're at today, but I think it would be appropriate to next ask Debbie about the process of succession at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the process that we have is there has been a selection committee that is established. I'm so glad that you asked that, Sherman, because we are seeking someone with Darryl's level of passion for our industry that can now take command and take charge. We've established a website. It's called Hiring at RVMH Hall of Fame. And I encourage if you know of somebody, or perhaps it's you yourself, that has that kind of passion, please send us your resume. We would like to talk with you. And that's the process that we're going through right now. We do have someone in charge in case there's a gap in time period, and that is Ryan Sklarick. He's our executive vice president. And the wonderful thing about Ryan is the staff over at the RVMH Hall of Fame, they would follow him anywhere. When they're setting up for these big events, I'm not there myself, but I hear the stories that they're often there past midnight, the whole team with him, everybody working hard and happily doing it. And he's just such an inspiration for all of us. And then going forward, he has some future visions too. He has some visions for reimagining the RV museum that would truly make it world-class and something spectacular. That's on our future horizon. I believe the first task of a new president would be to finish the event center that we built. And Darryl, you can go back to this. I wasn't involved back then, but that was part of your original vision for the RVMH Hall of Fame and how we build that out. So we built the building this year, but we just don't have the funds yet to finish it on the inside. That's one of the things that we'll be doing. Some people might wonder, why do we have events? Well, the reason that we have events is to fund our mission of the RV Hall of Fame, RVMH Hall of Fame. The admission price of tickets, that does generate some revenue, admission tickets for the museum, but not enough to fund the operation. So we have to go forward and find other means of generating revenue in order to protect our place. And, you know, when you think of it, the RVMH Hall of Fame is the crown jewel of our industry. It's the only place in the world that is dedicated to the remarkable people and the innovative innovations and the history that have shaped this industry. So it's something that I hopefully all of us that have been blessed in this industry will get behind and honor it and make it as successful as we possibly can.
I think it's timely to point out that, and he only alluded to it, Darryl. The fact is, in these, how many years since you've been in the saddle there, you have done so without any remuneration. That means
is correct.
money. Yeah, no money. Why'd you do that?
A lot of people have asked me that question. And, you know, when you, years ago, I was in a company back when I was in my 20s called Success Motivation out of Waco, Texas. And I learned that success is, in fact, their definition of success was it's the progressive realization of worthwhile predetermined goals that relate to your potential as an individual. And so when I spent some time in retirement, I could see that there was something missing there. And I spent a little time on the board at the Hall of Fame. I was treasurer for a short period of time. As history would, if I wrote a book about history, it would actually show that I was fired at the treasurer by the past president. And it's kind of ironic, but that was because I paid a bill that was due at the bank. We still had $350,000. And so I paid that bill off, was $200,000. We still had $350 in the bank. And I guess they didn't like the fact that when it come due that it got paid. And so the president and the chairman at that time decided that I should leave the Hall of Fame. So it's kind of ironic that I would come back to dig it out of a hole and take it from a negative net worth to over 20 million net worth and no debt. And so it's a long way around to answer the story, but I'm very passionate about the Hall of Fame. I wanted to give something back to the industry that was good to me. The only rough spot during the time was the 2 years of the pandemic. And, you know, it was a real boom, as Debbie can testify for the RV dealers. It was a real boom for a couple of years, but it wasn't a boom for the Hall of Fame. We lost just shy of $2 million in revenue. We didn't have to go borrow any money to continue to operate, but we lost the opportunity because we basically had to shut down the event center, which is what has kept it alive.
When you say event center, you mean the most recent addition?
Well, I'm talking about Ingram Hall, which was there when I first came. It was actually used as part of the museum, and we moved everything out of there and made it an income center. And that took us from about a $600,000 a year to just over $1 million a year in income. And that put us on the road to recovery. It took 7 years to get the $5.5 million paid to get us out of debt.
The most recent addition, though, how do we refer to that?
That's the East Wing, the East 36,000 Convention Center. And as Debbie said, the building itself is done. Technically, the inside is done. What's not done is the additional things that we want to do to make it a turnkey operation with tables and chairs, and we have to have video and audio and that sort of thing, so that we could make it a turnkey operation.
Is it in final form then otherwise?
Oh yeah, we've had this year it's brought in about 100 and not counting the supplier show. It's brought in about 126,000 in income. The supplier show was another 800,000 in income. And so, you know, that was a very necessary thing, especially for the RV supplier show.
It sure worked for us, didn't it, Rick? For the RV Power Breakfast. Really worked. Yeah, it was nice.
I was going to mention that it was such a pleasure to be one of the first events to be held in the new facility there, the new convention center. And we had more people than we've ever had at that event, and we still didn't fill the space. So we're looking forward to filling it up next year.
Something like 1,350 people, right, Rick?
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive, especially in a soft, if I could use that word, market. And very impressive. Well, what else, Rick, was on your?
Well, I don't want to. I don't mean to drag the Hall of Fame, you know, through the mud. But the fact is, Darryl, when you took over, it was dark times for the Hall of Fame. Take me back, because that was before my time.
Even Go RVing, who was funding it to the tune of 200,000 a year, which was 1/3 of their total income. They had cut it down to $75,000 a year, and I was able to get it back up to 111,000, which I felt was what was necessary, and Go RVing went along with that. I think, to summarize, if you say it took us 7 years, during the 7-year period to get it out of debt, with utilizing the event center, 52 cents out of every dollar that came in, which averaged about 1.2 million a year in revenue, but 52% of that went to pay off the debt. And it took 7 years. And after the first 3 or 4 years, we did what Debbie referred to earlier, which was the vision of the future, which showed the entire campus the way it is today as where we wanted to go. So if I just recap that a little bit,
sure.
We no sooner got out of debt in April of let's see, it would have been 2019, April of 2019, and Thor said, we would like to improve the 27 acres to the east. So they put in at Thor's expense, they put in the pavilion, which is 23,000 square feet. They put in 1 million square feet of blacktop lighting. They put in power. They put in dump stations. They improved that dramatically at their expense in 2019. And then they had their September open house show there in 2019. Well, then we all know what happened in 2020, 2021. We virtually didn't do anything, except we did keep the museum open, and we were able to live off of, you might say, the interest of the money we had in the bank at that time. And then if you look at from 2022 to 2024, we built the MH Museum, which was 21,000 square feet. And now we have built the 36,000 square foot convention center East Wing. And that's completed, except for, you know, the goodies we want to put in to make it turnkey. And we still have no debt. So, and now our annual income is over $2 million.
So, Debbie, I have one final question for you as you go about the search for Dale's replacement. Obviously, big shoes to fill. Is it safe to say that you might actually have a salary for the next president?
Yes. Another reason that we need to finish out the new convention center, make it turnkey. If we make it turnkey, we can increase the revenue by about 40%. And we desperately do need that revenue so that we can hire a new president and perhaps a couple other staff members too. I don't think we'll find anyone to fill Darryl's shoes, and certainly no one is going to do it for free. So yes, the next one will be a paid position. So send your resumes, hiring at RV RVMHHallOfFame.org.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I have one last comment that I
Go
would be
for it.
remiss if I didn't make this comment. Debbie, you might want to close your ears because in my letter back in August, when I told the board that I intended to resign as its president, but I'll be around in 2025, I made a recommendation of who my replacement would be.
Yes, and the search committee has that recommendation, and it certainly will be taken seriously, Darryl.
And he is an individual that actually has the same passion for the Hall of Fame that I do, and has made it known that he would like to move up the ladder. So,
All right. Everybody, thank you. Why don't you sign us off there, Rick?
Yep. And once again, Darryl, congratulations on just an absolutely spectacular accomplishment there at the Hall of Fame. When they named the Spirit Award after you, that was well done, well deserved.
well, that was because I wouldn't take any compensation, and it's a little bit embarrassing because when they name an award after you, normally you're not around to see who gets it. I just thank the good Lord that I'm able to be there, and I've allowed Ryan to do that presentation for the Darryl Searer Spirit Award, but it's been quite an honor, I can tell you, and I really enjoy working with the board. I enjoy working with the staff, and it hasn't kept me up very many nights in the last 12 and a half years. Let's put it that way. It's the opportunity that was there. It would have been a shame if it hadn't been capitalized on, and I just glad I was in a position and had the skills to be able to do that.
All right. Thank you immensely. Both of you. Rick, take us away.
Yep. Nope. Nothing more to be said. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, gentlemen.